So welcome everybody to our regular Thinking Thursday. And today, let me wish everybody a happy Ram Navami. और आज के शुभ दिवस के ऊपर आज we have Hitesh Vaishisht, who's going to be talking on Treta Yuga. मुझे लगता है कि the universe wants that we should hear something about Treta Yuga today. And Hitesh के बारे में मैं क्या कह सकती हूँ? He's an amazing person. बहुत ही सुलझे हुए कोच है. बहुत सारे कोचेस मैंने देखे हुए हैं, बट सुलझे हुए बहुत कम है. और हितेश मुझे लगता है is one of them. I was just reading his profile on LinkedIn and I saw that he's actually an MBA, and his work that I see with inner child, with past life regression therapy, with consciousness shifting का जो काम करते हैं, of course he's certified by Dr. Newton from the Quantum Life Research University, and he's also a treasurer with the Quantum Life Research University. Hitesh की एक किताब है, which is one of my favorite books, okay, Sundaram Speaks. बहुत ही छोटी सी किताब है, but it's such a beautiful book कि सभी को वो किताब पढ़नी चाहिए. Everybody should read that book. There's something about that book because it's actually written from his soul, you know. You can feel it. कि शब्दों का जिस तरह से हितेश ने उपयोग किया है उस किताब में, so wise and so beautiful, pearls of wisdom है उस book में. Yes, absolutely, Shakuntala is showing the book Sundaram Speaks. और मुझे लगता है कि Hitesh and Shubhangi, his wife, beautiful wife, both of them really bring such a powerful spiritual energy in their workshops that मैं recommend करती हूँ लोगों को workshops करनी चाहिए उनके साथ में. और both of them are such soft and gentle spiritual people, and they're seekers in their own way. और मुझे लगता है ये बहुत ही ब्यूटीफुल चीज है दोनों में. मुझे याद है कई साल पहले at one of the global conferences at Hyderabad, I'd seen the two of them walking together, and they looked so ethereal. That's one word that comes to me जब मैं दोनों को साथ में देखती हूँ. They are really lovely people, और we are privileged today that Hitesh is with us today and he's going to be talking on Treta Yuga. मुझे नहीं लगता हम शायद उसके इस युग के बारे में ज्यादा कुछ जानते हैं, except कि it was a yuga where Shri Ram was there. But the interesting aspects of that yuga as far as today's contemporary world goes is very important to understand. And so Hitesh, I welcome you, my dear. And please talk to us in your soft, gentle, wise voice, which is very much needed. So please, thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for all your kind words. I feel that people like you, people like sir, ma'am, everybody, they are the light for us. We get inspired from your energy. So thank you so much for being that inspirational energy, and thank you for inviting me here because speaking here at this platform is also very close to my heart. And I feel that the kind of topics, because most of the classes we go and they say, oh, you decide the topic, but this is the platform wherein you say this is the topic. So I feel really good about it. And I think I consider it to be that it's an opportunity for me also to grow in that topic. And same way, this topic also, is something that has stretched my understanding of the yugas and, how and in what ways it is working and why there was a need for, the avatar to take birth and all this. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. So please Everybody, please mute yourself so that we can listen to Hitesh uninterrupted. Hitesh, thank you
Yes.
so much.
Okay. So friends, welcome to today's Thinking Thursday. And the topic that has been given to me is Treta Yuga. You know, of course, we've heard of yugas, but those of you who are not so much aware of this yuga system and how the time is cyclic in nature, I will just give a little bit and then we will delve more into the Treta Yuga. So, there are four yugas that, the consciousness or the human evolution passes through. The first yuga is called the Satya Yuga, or the Sat Yuga, and then comes the Treta Yuga, then comes Dwapar Yuga, and then comes Kali Yuga. So Sat Yuga means that which starts with Sat, and then is Treta. Treta means three, the Yuga of three, and Dwapar means do, the Yuga of two, and finally Kali Yuga. So it is very interesting to see that in this yuga, the way they are being set, the three comes before the two. The Treta comes before Dwapar. By name, it should be Dwapar and then Treta. But it says Treta and then Dwapar. So there are two things that we need to understand why Treta came first and then why Dwapar came. So to understand that, I would first like to speak to you about the Dharma bull. I'm sure, in the readings or if you just search the bull which typifies Dharma, Dharma has this, like this bull, has four legs, or you can say pillars of Dharma. So if somebody wants to fulfill their Dharma, which is their own responsibility, or, how they lead their life, we say that you have to go by Dharma. So what are these four pillars of Dharma? The very first pillar is called Satyata, or the truth. The truth. That means you are able to see the milk from the water, because the milk is the truth and the water is an illusion. So to be able to see that truth in each and every speck and the fragment of this vast consciousness is what is called Satya. To be able to see, Satya means that which stays now, which stayed, some years and centuries, which stayed, and then which will continue to stay. Satya means that which stays forever, which never took birth, which will never die, it will always stay. That is Satya. And obviously, Satya means consciousness. Consciousness never took birth, it never will die, it will never vanish, it will keep flowing and moving in continuity. And the second one which we have is basically called tapa. We call it tapasya or tapa. The penance or the penance and the austerity, with which that is the second, the pillar of dharma, tapa. That how much tapa could be of any order. It could be, for some people, tapa is like, raising their kids in a beautiful manner, giving them nice moral values. For some, tapa is like tapasya. For some, tapa is like yagna. For some, tapa could be anything wherein there is a discipline which is being formed. That is what the tapa means. And then the third one, which the third leg of this bull is called pavitrata. Or basically you can say like sanity, your cleanliness, your piousness, the pavitrata. How pure you are with your intentions, and how pure you are with your mind, your body, the cleanliness of the mind, your body, and your emotions. That speaks about the pavitrata of our nature. And then the fourth one speaks about the last leg, which we call as compassion or dayaluta, the kindness. So the kind means to be able to see somebody's pain, to be able to empathize with somebody. That is what the last, the leg of dharma is. So there are four legs of dharma: satyata, and then tapasya, and then we have the third one is pavitrata, and then dayaluta. So these four legs. Now, before we talk about why Treta comes at a third level, we first must ask that why Satyayug comes at a first. Because in Satyayug, all these four legs were present. People were able to work, people were able to lead their life from the absolute space of this dharma. They were able to, lead a life from all these four pillars of dharma. They followed Satyata. They were actually the follower of the truth, right? They did a lot of tapasya of several. They saw life in a manner wherein it was tapasya for them. The third, they were clean in their body and mind. Fourth, they were absolutely in the space of compassion. So that is how the Satyug was formed. And which is why it is also called the golden age, because people were absolutely aware of their own divine nature, their own divine self. People, not like only sadhus and sant were doing meditation. Meditation was the name of every household. Everybody knew how to connect with their own self. Everybody knew how to receive messages. Everybody knew that they are not this body, they are much more than that. So that is how the Satyug moved. They lived like that. And everything was seen in a space of equanimity, that no separation, absolute oneness living was lived in that zone, in the Satyug. And that's why we were called divine beings. We were all called Pavitra Atma, because we were connected to that self, our real self. And then when we moved to Treta Yuga, what happened was one of the legs of the bull was cut. And which was the leg which was cut? It was Satya. The Satya leg was cut. One of the pillars actually went down. Now, what happened during this? Now, we all know, I'm sure you must have read about the very first avatar of Bhagwan Vishnu, which is called Matsya Avatar. And in Matsya Avatar, what happens is that there is a Raja who is called Satyavrat, and he's been, he's doing his own tapasya and sadhana, and he's just filling up. He goes to the river and he picks up an achman to give it to the sun. And in that, he sees a fish. And the fish says, "Don't give it to me, give me to the water. The bigger fishes are going to eat me. So take me home with you." So he takes the fish home, and then he moves the fish into a vessel, and then fish becomes bigger, and it says, "No, I can't fit in here. You have to put me in some other bigger pot or a vessel." And that's how he keeps shifting the place of that, the fish. And eventually he realizes that as soon as he again puts the fish into the water, the fish becomes as equivalent to water. Then he realizes that this is not somebody who is a normal being. He realizes it's Vishnu himself. And then he says, "Please give me your darshan." And that's how Bhagwan Vishnu shows him up. And he says that there is going to be coming a time जब प्रलय आएगी, और उस प्रलय में what you have to do is I will be the one who will be helping you to transition from this Satyuga to the next Yuga, the Treta. And how it is going to happen? That I will come in this same similar form, like this huge, humongous fish. I'm going to come like this. All you have to do is you, your wife, and take couple of animals, like animals in couples, like a dog and a lady dog, and then a peacock and a peahen, a horse and mule. You have to take the genders of all the couples, bring them in your ship, in your boat, and along with saptarishis. Along with that, keep some herbs, like all the herbs that you like, the seeds of some highly medicinal plants. You keep all that in the boat, and I will come and I will take the boat, with my reins, and I will take you through that journey wherein you are saved from this pralay. So Satyavrat becomes the actual, the first person who comes into the Treta Yuga. He is the first one, because if you see all the things that he was given, he had a couple, he had his wife so that he could multiply his number. Then he also had Saptarishis, who were like the vast knowledge, chalti phirti knowledge thi wo. They were all connected to the divine essence. They were carrying that wisdom. And then all couples of animals, ताकि animals भी multiply हो सके, cattle भी multiply हो सके, जो हमारा animal kingdom है वो multiply हो सके. And same goes with plants also, so that you go and seed them, and that's how they're going to grow. So that's how the new world, new Treta Yuga was found. The reason Treta is coming before Dwapar, because it has 3 legs. Second, it has 3 Vishnu avatars. That's why it is Treta. Okay, in Satyuga, what did we do? We had actually 4 avatars: Matsya avatar, Kurma avatar, Vara avatar, and Narsimha avatar. And in Treta, he had 3 avatars: Vaman avatar, Parshuram, and Bhagwan Sri Ram. In Dwapar, why it is called 2? Because it had 2 avatars. What are those avatars? We call it Bhagwan Krishna or Bhagwan and Bhagwan Balaram. In Kali Yuga, we say that Kalki is still going to come, right? Some of them, Bhagwan Balaram is also replaced by Bhagwan Buddha. He said that he is, one of the incarnation which has already taken birth in Kali Yuga, and now the Kalki avatar is going to come. So that is fine. But going with these 3 avatars, that is why it is called Treta Yuga. Now, let's talk about कि जब त्रेता युग आया, उस युग में जब क्रिएशन होने लगी, धीरे धीरे क्या हुआ कि we were in our own nature, and then what's begin to pollute? The pollution of the mind came into the picture, right? And the pollution of the mind actually happened in a space wherein हमारे सबसे पहले क्या था, सतयुग में कोई भी हमारा वेद उपनिषद, कोई भी सेक्रेड नॉलेज लिखी नहीं गई थी, कभी भी नहीं. It was always mugged up. People took lifetimes to mug that up. It was always known, कंठस्थ की जाती थी. पर जैसे ही त्रेता युग आया तो उसको लिखना शुरू किया, because people, they started to see that people somewhere, they are not interested. They are losing their interest to know our our actual essence, and that's how they were put into the picture. तो वैदिक चीजें लिखना शुरू किया गया, उसको हमारे वेद को बनाया गया, हमारे 4 वेदों को बनाया गया, ऋग्वेद, सामवेद, अथर्ववेद एंड यजुर्वेद, उस सबको बना के रखा गया. इसके साथ साथ हमारी जो सोसाइटी का जो सेग्रीगेशन था वो भी हुआ. जैसे आप सब ने वर्ण सिस्टम सुना होगा. There is a Varna system which still prevails. What we say is there are Brahmins, there are Kshatriyas, there are Vaishyas, and there are Shudras. But the way it was written, it is now misinterpreted. It has gone, because हमारी human civilization का एक defect है, 3 defect हैं. What are those 3 defects? First is we hallucinate. हम किसी चीज में भी कुछ भी कर लेते हैं. We are in that zone of hallucination. Second is we misinterpret. We misinterpret things. हम जैसे हमने कोई रामायण पढ़ी तो जो लाइन में लिखा उसको हम लकीर के फकीर बना के we just pick this up. We don't try to read between the lines. And the third thing is we also have a misunderstanding which comes from our perspective. You know, sometimes the thing is something else, but we take it something else. So these are a few defects which comes as far as the pollution of the mind is concerned. You know, we begin to look at life from our own belief systems and our own conditioning, and that's how, you know, the knowledge started, the consciousness, the realization of the consciousness begin to slow down. Or Varna system, when the Varna system was created, it was created in a way that Brahmins were somebody who were actually in the guiding force. They would guide the society, right? And the second came the Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas were the leaders. They were the initiators. They would take things from the forefront. You know, that's how they lived the life. And the third ones were Vaishyas. Vaishyas were traders. You know, they would trade for things so that economy could survive. And the fourth one were actually called Shudras, those who were in the space of cleanliness, keeping the upkeep of the everything. So people were divided into these varnas on the basis of their work, not by their birth. You know, your work will decide who you are. And all of them were considered absolutely equal. But now you see, you know, you speak to some ancient, you know, or maybe you speak to some elders of the family. कोई नया कोई अगर घर आए उसको वो पूछते हैं आपकी जाति कौन है ना. पुराने बुजुर्ग पूछ लेते हैं कि आपकी जाति क्या है. But it was not like that, dear friends. You know, now it has deteriorated into a system wherein whosoever has taken a birth in Vaishya Jati or Kshatriya or Shudra, they are considered that, you know, bas inka kaam ab yahi hai. No, they were actually, your actions define who you are. You know, in the real consciousness space, जैसे हम supreme Brahman है, supreme Brahman यानी कि the supreme consciousness. Supreme consciousness की जो वाणी है उसको हम ब्राह्मण कहते हैं. जो उसके हाथ हैं उसको हम क्षत्रिय कहते हैं. उसकी जो थाइज हैं, उसकी जो जांघें हैं, उसको हम क्या कहते हैं? वैश्यस. उसके जो पांव हैं उसको हम शूद्र कहते हैं. तो सारा कुछ ही it is belonging to that supreme force. और ब्राह्मण और कुछ नहीं होता. ब्राह्मण simply means that who follows the truth, who brings, you know, in his behavior actually the Brahman space, who is actually the seeker of the truth, who is actually wanting to station himself in the truth, or he has or she has stationed fully in the truth. That is what the Brahman is. And anybody can be Brahman, not like only you know, some of them. It's not like that. And all of us, we all are Brahmins. All of us, we are Shudras also. Why? Because we do a lot of cleaning also. Cleaning in the sense, not just cleaning the, you know, the bathrooms and the toilets. No, the cleaning of the mind also. I say all healers are Shudras. Why? Because they are actually clearing some of the greatest dirt of the humanity. You know, so we are into that zone. Right? So that is how it was created in those Treta Yuga. फिर धीरे धीरे क्या होता है कि उस समय में हमारा जो एज भी थी, that also mattered because people had started to pollute here. It affected their age. Earlier, people will live for 1 lakh years in Satyuga. People will live for 1 lakh years. But as they came to Treta Yuga, because of the pollution in the mind, because of the cortisol level rising, then what happened? Their age came down to 10,000 years. They started to live for 10,000 years. And it further deteriorated. You know, it moved down to like 1,000 years in Dwapar Yuga. And then in Kali Yuga, it is said 100 years. So that is how the deterioration of our own absorption of the consciousness and realization of the consciousness defines that which yuga we are moving through. Then त्रेता युग में क्योंकि लोग अब pollute होना शुरू हो गए थे and people started to feel that this is mine, that is yours. People started to make boundaries. They made nations. We were only one khanda, but then people started to make boundaries. This is mine, that is yours. Ye mera ghar, ye tera ghar. All that started to come into the picture. So that brought again the separation in the consciousness. और वो धीरे धीरे होती होती फिर क्या होगा, हम ज्यादा अपनी ईगो बॉडी में चले गए. वी स्टार्टेड टू फाइट फॉर आवर राइट्स अ लॉट मोर. वी स्टार्टेड टू से oh, this belongs to me, how dare you take it. And that gave birth to a lot of the tamas which started to come in that yuga. जैसे पहले सतयुग में क्या था, सत्व गुण ज्यादा था, है ना. रजस और तमस का प्रोपोर्शन बहुत कम था. Not like that the energies, the demon energies were not there, but they were not able to impact the world in a such an impactful manner the way it impacted in Treta Yuga, and further it impacted in Dwapar Yuga. तो क्या होता है कि सतयुग में क्या था, वर्ल्ड्स में फाइट्स होती थी, जैसे धरती लोक और स्वर्गलोक, वहां पे फाइट्स होती. पर जैसे ही हम अब द्वापर युग में त्रेता युग में आए, त्रेता युग में क्या हुआ, एक ही वर्ल्ड में लोगों में फाइट हो रही. जैसे आप देखो कि एक ही वर्ल्ड में अगर मैं आपको कहूं, यू टेक एन एग्जांपल ऑफ भगवान राम, लंका एंड अयोध्या, fight between the worlds on the same globe, same planet. Earlier we were not fighting with the people from the same dimension, but then it started to come into the same planet. द्वापर में क्या हुआ, महाभारत हुई, then same families, it even narrowed down to same families. जैसे पांडव और कौरव एक ही फैमिली के थे, पर अब फैमिलीज में झगड़ा होना शुरू हो गया. कलयुग में तो हमें पता है कि क्या हो रहा है. अब फैमिलीज के अंदर भी हमने हमारे क्लोज रिलेशनशिप में भी फाइट्स हैं. There are divorces, there are separations, there is a fight, there is a case going on mother, and there's a case going on father. He didn't give me this, he took this away from me. So the condition is moving away from our real nature. It's like that. अब त्रेता युग में जब ये चीजें होने लगी, there was a deterioration of our real nature. That is the time when, to create that space, the Supreme will say, okay, I will come. I have to come to save, to upkeep the very balance of this nature, the very balance of this, this whole planet, this whole, this whole dimension. And that is how the birth was taken. अब क्या है कि त्रेता युग में भगवान विष्णु के सबसे पहले जो मनुष्य शरीर था, सबसे पहली बार आया उनके पास. जैसे वामन अवतार लिया उन्होंने, उनका 5वां अवतार. वामन अवतार was the very first human body he took. Earlier he was like a fish, he was like a water animal, जिनको हम aquatic animal, they are like that, aquatic beings. Then second, he was a kurma, who is like amphibian, who can also live on the plain and who can also live in water. Kurma is a tortoise. Tortoise धरती पर भी रह सकता, पानी में भी रह सकता. फिर थर्ड क्या हुआ, वराह. वराह क्या था, धरती पे रहने वाला जानवर, बोर. Right? And the fourth one is actually the transitionary, who is half male, half animal, who is like a head of a loin and then the body of a male. So that's how even he transitioned, and ultimately at the time he reached to Treta, he took the body of a complete body of a human, and that was also going through our evolution. उसमें भी क्या था, उनका पहले dwarf थे, he was a dwarf, बोना. वामन was nothing but वो छोटे से थे, बोना. The evolution of the human body did not even happen a lot, तो वो इतने छोटे से थे. फिर धीरे धीरे उन्होंने पूरा शरीर लिया, परशुराम का शरीर लिया। अब क्या है, ड्वार्फ स्पेस में वामन अवतार का जब उन्होंने लिया, सो वी ऑल नो व्हाट वाज हैपनिंग, यू नो, in that I just share that story with you so that you have a basic understanding of this avatar that he took in Treta Yuga. So there was this Raja whose name was Bali. Raja Bali. He was highly powerful demon, right? And he was so powerful that he could also, give tough time to Indra. He had taken over all the dimensions. He was so powerful. So Treta Yuga mein, what he was doing was, since Sat was not present, there were only 3 legs that were present, so people were more dependent on yagnas. क्योंकि सत क्या होता है, मेडिटेट करना। सत वो है कि आप अपने अंदर जाओ, पर क्योंकि सत का प्रेजेंस इतना कम हो गया था वहां पे, सो त्रेता युग में क्या हुआ, लोग यज्ञ में ज्यादा चले गए। They started to do more yagya and ahutis and rituals. They started to offer it to the gods, the nature gods. And he was also doing a yagya. That was the way to connect with oneself and to assimilate powers. So that was the time when Vaman comes in. He says, he looks at him and he says, oh, Vaman, एक छोटा सा इतना प्यारा सा ब्राह्मण आया है. So he was able to think from a compassionate manner because, वो compassion का जो वो pillar है उस समय था, लोगों के दिल में था. He saw and he said, wow, ये मेरे धरती पे आए हैं, अतिथि देवो भव, तो क्या है, मुझे इनका थोड़ा सत्कार करना है. And he moves to, Vaman and he says कि आप यहाँ पे आए, thank you so much, मैं आपके लिए क्या कर सकता हूँ. Vaman said, give me 3 पग धरती चाहिए मुझे. I would take 3 steps of, your land from you. He says, only that much. Okay, you take it. So as soon as he says, okay, you take it, then what he does is, Vaman becomes Virat Vishnu. He takes his Virat Swarupa. And from that one paga, he takes the Prithvi Lok. And from the second paga, he takes, the Swargalok. And third pug is left. He now says, where should I keep it? सारी धरती तो मैंने कवर कर लिया, अब तीसरा पग मैं कहाँ पे रखूंगा? And that was the time when Vali felt, he's been tricked into this. He said something and something is happening. So he felt that he is tricked. पर क्योंकि उसने वचन दे दिया था, and those 3 pillars of the, dharma was present in him. So what he did was कि प्रभु आप मेरा अपना तीसरा पग मेरे सर पे रख दो. And seeing his compassion, Lord keeps his, feet on his head. And the moment he keeps it, he moves into Patala Loka. He moves into the Patala Loka. तो इसीलिए राजा बलि को आज भी he is called the king of Patal Loka. There are dimensions which are under our earth. They're actually, that is actually the dimension of Raja Bali. Because he was blessed by God that you will be the king of, the Patal Lok. Seeing his kindness, his Dayaluta, his such pure giving, he could see. और इसके साथ साथ क्या था, अब राजा बलि की वाइफ भी ये सब कुछ देख रही थी. I'll just give you how reincarnation also comes into the picture because, we all are students of reincarnation. So she was looking at him, Vaman has come, and she felt, what a beautiful boy, what a soft little boy. I wish I could breastfeed this boy. She tells this. And now Vaman was, a great being. He could listen to the thoughts, those were passed in a subtle language to her, to him. And then he says, Tathastu. Then what happens is, as soon as this whole trick happens, that Vaman becomes Virat Vaman and, now the storyline has changed, she felt very agitated. She felt, what kind of a person this is? Such a bad man he is. If he was my child, I would have given him poison in my milk. That's what she said. To which Lord again said, Tathastu. He said that. Now, if you remember, in Krishna's birth, there was Putana. You all have heard of Putana. She had a wish to give birth to, to breastfeed Krishna. She did that. At the same time, she also gave poison to Krishna. So both her wishes were fulfilled. So that is the level of the divine being, that not that we just offer the good things to the divine. हम घर में प्रसाद लगाते हैं, पर वो शबरी भी थी जिसने झूठे बेर भी लगाए. So it's like whatever we are not able to handle, it's like we can offer it to the supreme self. We say, आप देखो, मुझे नहीं पता. That is the level of surrender which is being taught, into these systems. And that's how, the Vaman avatar lived and further. And then came Parshuram. So you all know Parshuram was the one who killed several Kshatriyas. He took birth to actually kill Kshatriyas. Now we feel, how can somebody take birth to kill someone? People should have divine plans, but his plan was divine. Why was it divine? Because Treta Yuga में क्या था? अब क्षत्रिय लोग society के leaders बन गए. They started to kill people. They started to molest people. They started to, pin people down. They started to dominate, that we are the kings. They will charge more taxes. They will try to, give them pain. So to save the world, that's how, Parshuram came into the picture. He took birth and he says that I am going to clear this earth from all such Kshatriyas. And that's what he did in that Treta Yuga. And he is the only avatar of Bhagwan Vishnu who is absolutely Chiranjeevi. He's absolutely, he's immortal. Only avatar Bhagwan Vishnu. Rest of them, when they took the body, they had to give the body. Okay. And then from there, we move to Bhagwan Ram. And today is a great day to speak about Bhagwan Ram. So why did Ram took birth? Why was the way his character was as Ram, why was it showed in Treta Yuga the way it was? He could have come in Dwapar also, but why exactly in Treta Yuga? So friends, before we understand this, we must first understand what is Ram. Ram क्या है? आप सबने रत्नाकर के बारे में सुना है? Have you heard of Ratnakar? Right? Those of you who have not heard, I will just give you a little background, because all these stories, they have a lot to share, dear friends. And frankly, stories are my, very close space of me, because as a child, I have grown listening to all these stories. And but now I see, why did I hear all these stories? What was the meaning behind that? So Ratnakar was a dacoit. He would stand on a highway, and whosoever will pass from that, he will, snatch, rob, kill. That's what he would do. One day, there was Maharishi Narad was passing by from that space. Everybody said, don't go there. There is a dacoit called Ratnakar, who is going to kill you. He said, don't worry, I will handle. Because he knows there is a divine plan. That is what he's following. So he goes there and he meets Ratnakar. Ratnakar keeps a knife here and he says, whatever your belongings are, give it to me. Otherwise, I'm going to kill you. So he does not get fearful. Narad Muni does not get fearful. And he says, by doing this, what will you get? He says, all your belongings, whatever you have, I'm going to take it home and I'm going to give it to my family. And that's how my family going to survive. We are going to sustain. We are going to, live. He says, if this is how you're going to take everything from me by snatching, so this snatching will create some karma also. Will your family also take over that karma with you? The way you are sharing all this with them, will they also take it from you? He says, of course they will. So Narad Muni says, I doubt. He says, if you are so sure, go back home, ask them, If they say yes, they will do it, then you come to me. I will happily offer myself. But if they don't do it, even then you let me know. He says, okay, you stand here, I go back home. He goes back home and he checks with his wife. First, he asks his father. His father says, I don't know you. And then he goes to his wife. She also says, please, how can I? This is your job. You are doing it, not me. My job is to just take care of the household, give food to my kids, raise them nicely. I'm doing that. Earning is not my piece. How you earn is not my, you know, piece of cake. Then he's in a big quandary. Then he comes back and he tells it to, Bhagwan Narad, and he says, it's a big bowl to me. I've, you know, everything is gone for me. I don't understand that. Why did I do that? Now you tell me what is the way out. That's what Ratnakar says. He kneels down in front of Bhagwan Narad and he says, you tell me the way. So Narad, what he did, because he knew what's the pravritti of this person. He is a dacoit. His mind is polluted. So he gave him a job based on his kind of a work. He said, you have to chant Mara, 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 Mara. Because you are into, killing people. You say Mara, 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 Mara. He says, what a funny job. He takes that job over. And then he says, Mara, 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 Ram, 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 Ram. So that is how he started to get into the process of chanting Ram, 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 Ram. And he was told by Bhagwan Narad, he said, in Treta Yuga, Lord Ram is going to come. And with all this tapasya that you do now, you sit with yourself, you understand, you chant this name, you will get the chance to write his journey. So friends, Ratnakar is nobody but Maharishi Valmiki himself. He became Maharishi Valmiki and he wrote all that which we know, which we all have been reading from ages. So that's how, it was given. So friends, what is Ram? Ram, अगर आप राम का असली अर्थ जानना है तो क्या है? राम का उल्टा क्या है? मरा. मरा मरा मतलब कि that which is mortal. Mortal का उल्टा क्या हुआ? Immortal. Ram means that which is immortal. What is immortal? Your Atma. The Sat is immortal. And that's why Sri Ram took birth in Treta Yuga, because one of the legs of the bull, which was Sat, was not present. He became that pillar then. By his actions, he showed what actually is Satya, what actually is Dharma. And that's what he followed, and that's what he lived in his life. He was called as a Maryada Purushottam. In his own Maryada, he did everything. He gave his best. So which is why Ram is nothing but Atma itself. Ram means that which is immortal. Because Ram ka agar ulta karte hain, it becomes Mara. Mara means mortal. Opposite of mortal is nothing but immortal. That which never dies, which never took birth, which never dies, but it's staying in continuity. Ram means the pure consciousness, Paramatma. That's what, was brought into the system when he started to live. He wanted to save the world by giving them Sat, that how you should lead a life. So I think I can stop here for some time. And if you have any questions for me, then I can answer them. If you have any sharing from your side, we can take that also.
Thank you,
मेरा एक
Hitesh. It
क्वेश्चन
was
है.
wonderful. हाँ जी. So now slowly, one by one, if you can raise your hand, तो सही रहेगा हमारे लिए भी, हितेश के लिए भी. So please raise your hand and you can ask the question. बताइए कौन?
मुझे पता ही नहीं कहाँ से रेंज करना है.
अच्छा ठीक है, बता दीजिए. अच्छा, it's okay. बताइए. क्या है क्वेश्चन उषा जी? हाँ जी।
मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि ये राम और परशुराम दोनों एक ही वक्त में कैसे प्रेजेंट थे?
जी जी। तो देखिए, हम आर वी अवेयर ऑफ देयर इज अ कॉन्सेप्ट कॉल्ड पैरेलल लाइफ्स मैडम, है ना? पैरेलल लाइफ्स क्या होता है? वो हमारी मल्टी डायमेंशनल सेल्फ को बताता है कि हम सिर्फ, मैंने, आपने सिर्फ इसी जन्म में इसी समय में ये एक शरीर नहीं लिया हुआ, हम इसके साथ साथ कोई और भी शरीर लिया हुआ है, शायद इसी धरती पर, शायद कहीं और भी। तो इसे हम कहते हैं पैरेलल लाइफ टाइम्स, कि एक ही समय में जब हम दो शरीर लेते हैं तो उसे हम पैरेलल लाइफ टाइम्स कहते हैं। और एक चीज जो मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगा कि परशुराम जी का जो दर्शन आया है ना इस युग में, इन कहानियों में, दैट इज ओनली प्रेजेंट टिल द टाइम शिव धनुष वाज ब्रोकन।
या यस यस।
उसके बाद परशुराम जी का मेंशन नहीं आता। ओके, सो इट इज बेसिकली कि जब हम अपनी पैरेलल सेल्स एक दूसरे को मिल लेती हैं तो क्या है कि जो हमारी रियल अंडरस्टैंडिंग होती है वो दोनों में बढ़ जाती है। यू नो, सो ही वाज देयर बट एट द सेम टाइम ही इज लिविंग इन हिज ओन पैरेलल रियलिटी, नॉट इन द रियलिटी वेयर यू नो द राम वाज। सो इट इज अ पैरेलल लाइफ टाइम।
मीन्स कि आत्मा भी डिवाइड हो सकती है
यस यस,
दो
जिसे हम
हिस्सों
कहते हैं
में,
कि
या
फ्रैगमेंट्स, इसको हम कहते हैं फ्रैगमेंट्स, भिन्न भिन्न रूप ले सकती है, भिन्न भिन्न सेपरेशन में, इस धरती पर भी, कहीं और भी, वी कैन टेक सेवरल बर्थ्स टुगेदर।
ओके
ये
उषा
तो
जी,
अमेजिंग है वैसे बहुत।
थैंक यू। अच्छा, एक और प्रश्न है, हु इज गोइंग टू? हाँ जी, टीना, यू वांट टू आस्क अ क्वेश्चन? प्लीज गो अहेड। हाँ जी टीना,
My
पूछिए।
good evening, everyone.
गुड इवनिंग।
Can you hear
Yes,
me?
I can.
यस।
My question is, this question has been intriguing me, that why did Lord Ram not support his wife? उन्होंने अपना पति धर्म क्यों नहीं निभाया?
Okay,
ये
all right.
क्वेश्चन मुझे बहुत सालों से परेशान कर रहा है।
So I hope that you get the answer today, but I will try to give you the perspective on that.
शायद रामनवमी पे मिल जाए।
हाँ जी, तो मैं आपको कोशिश करूंगा आपको उसका उत्तर देने की, ठीक है?
Can I ask one question, please?
I will answer this
Shri,
first.
No, another question.
Shri, wait.
Okay, take
Shri,
it. Sorry.
I will answer this question and then you
Yes.
ask. So, देखिए, for this we have to go into the story of भगवान राम and माता सीता। तो क्या है, एक समय जब माता सीता जब वापस आ गई वनवास से, जब रावण से युद्ध कंप्लीट हो गया, देन शी केम बैक एंड भगवान राम ने प्रजा के किसी बंदे से पूछा कि देखो सीता मैया तो 14 साल किसी के पास रह के आई हैं, शी शुड, इज शी प्योर और नॉट? सो शी शुड प्रूव हर प्योरिटी। ओके, एंड दैट्स व्हाट इट वाज सेड टू, कि वो शायद किसी और के साथ तो नहीं थी। दैट वाज द पॉइंट व्हिच वाज रेज्ड ऑन सीता मैया। बट आपको ये देखना है कि भगवान राम सीता मैया से प्यार करते थे, नो मैटर व्हाट। कैसे करते थे? क्योंकि अब कोई पराये जगह पे रहेगा, उनके दिमाग में भी ये थॉट आ सकता है कि शायद मे बी शी वुड लाइक टू बी विद रावण एनीमोर, यू नो, एंड वुड नॉट लाइक टू बी विद मी। बट वो थॉट नहीं आया। और अगर भगवान राम को सीता मैया को छोड़ना था तो वो शायद युद्ध में जाते ही ना, लंका में जाते ही ना, उनको 14 साल पाने के लिए इतनी दूर जाते ही ना, वो अपना वनवास खत्म करके वापस आ जाते। बट ही वेंट। सो दिस शोज दैट द परीक्षा which was taken was not taken by him. It was not taken by him. It was actually, क्योंकि वो एक राजा थे तो प्रजा को एक धर्म दिखाने के लिए, that everything is same, even if it is my wife, your wife, everybody's children, we just have to go through that. That is what, you know, the whole purpose was. इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि सीता मैया को अगर उन्होंने उस परीक्षा से गुजारा तो यानी कि वो सीता मैया को प्यार नहीं करते थे। भगवान राम के पिताजी ने, हम 3 वाइफ्स को जानते हैं उनकी, बट डू यू नो ही हैड मोर देन 500 वाइफ्स. He was the only one who did not marry once, even if Sita had to go through this whole struggle. He would have married. Why didn't he marry? Because he loved his wife. Because he knew it is my dharma to be with her. If it was for him, why did he go through that pariksha? Because he had to give it an example to the world. उनके बीच में पैचअप था, सीता मैया और भगवान राम के बीच में कोई टकराव नहीं था कि मेरे को प्रभु आपने ये चीज दे दी. Have you heard Sita Maya agitating and saying, "Oh, why did you make me go through this?" She's never done that. She was so graceful in taking that because there was an inner pact between both that he has to set up dharma. Not only just a family dharma he has a collective dharma, and that is the dharma of the Ayodhya. That is the dharma of the society. That this is how we lead by examples. Okay.
Also, I want to add that Sita Maya left and she lived in the ashram and she had 2 children. But क्या सीता मैया ने कभी अपने बच्चों को ये बताया कि उनके पिताजी कौन हैं? नहीं बताया. जी, सीता मैया ने क्या अपने बच्चों को ये बताया कि this is what happened to me and I was thrown out and I was told to go away? No. So she also followed the path of Ram. She also maintained that dignity. कि अगर मैं किसी की पत्नी हूं और मेरे पति ने अगर मुझे कहा है, तो I should not, transfer what is being told to me to my children. तो वो कितनी ब्यूटीफुल चीज है जो आज के पेरेंट्स नहीं समझते. If the parents are having problems with each other, you know what happens, no? One of the parent takes the children on their side and then pollutes their mind. तो ये कितनी ब्यूटीफुल चीज है जो हमको सीखने की जरूरत है कि पति पत्नी के बीच में जो बातें होती है, that unspoken bond जो है उसको respect करना. I think this is what Ram and Sita actually depict to us.
But सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट, बट मुझे लगा उन्होंने ना मतलब अपने पुत्र धर्म बहुत अच्छा निभाया, राज धर्म बहुत अच्छा निभाया, बट मुझे लगता है उन्होंने अपना पति धर्म नहीं निभाया इतना जितना पुत्र धर्म और राज धर्म निभाया.
एक्चुअली इसमें क्या है, आपको उनके आउटर एक्शन से हट के ना थोड़ा अंदर के इंटेंट पे देखना है. क्योंकि हम क्या करते हैं, हम आउटर एक्शन में देख लेते हैं, पर एक्शन कुड बी एनीथिंग. लाइक वी कैन जज द एक्शंस ऑफ भगवान परशुराम आल्सो, बट यू हैव टू लुक इनटू द इंटेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड हिम प्रॉपर्ली. Okay, there are several incidents, which are unknown from the story of Bhagwan Ram and Mata Sita. जैसे एक ये भी इंसिडेंट है कि जैसे वाल्मीकि के पास भेजा तो गया, but Lakshman was taking care of them. She was looked after so well that although it does not mean that she was provided all the luxury, she was living a very simple life.
सॉरी सर, पर राम ने शादी तो नहीं की बाद में, चाहते तो कर सकते थे,
बिल्कुल कर सकते. This is one of the biggest thing. Yes.
मैं तो एक ही चीज कहती हूँ कि राम को अगर समझना है तो आपको सीता बनना पड़ेगा. अदरवाइज आप राम को नहीं समझ सकते. So हमारे अंदर की जो सीता है उसको बाहर लाइए, then you will understand Ram. Otherwise we will just skim over the surface. जैसे हितेश ने कहा कि हम सिर्फ बाहरी चीजें देख रहे हैं, तो जो अंदर की जो सुंदरता है उनकी, वो हम नहीं देख पाते. वो सिर्फ सीता ने देखा.
Yes.
तो इसीलिए हमें सीता बनना पड़ेगा. Then only we can understand Ram.
So beautifully said.
Okay, another question. बताइए और कौन पूछना चाहता है?
Hi, hello, ma'am.
हाँ जी, बोलिए.
Hi.
नमस्ते. Hi.
नमस्ते.
मुझे थोड़ा अलग क्वेश्चन पूछना था. ये श्री राम के ऊपर भी नहीं है. मुझे ये पूछना था कि हम जैसे आप ये कहते हैं कॉन्शियसनेस की बात करते हैं, ब्राह्मण और ब्रह्म से हम उत्पत्ति लेते हैं और ये सब, तो एक कुछ परमानेंट चीज होगी जो हमारे पास होगी. बिकॉज देखिए, घर वर तो छोड़ो, मतलब मकान तो छोड़ो, अब मुझे कभी कभार ये रियलाइज होता है दैट इवन द बॉडी इज नॉट व्हाट वी आर. सो उस केस में ये होता है कि सो व्हाट वी आर एक्चुअली, बिकॉज ये सर्टेन है दैट ऑल वी ऑल विल डाई, राइट? So there has to be something where we go after we die, and matlab there has to be a permanent stop for the journey, or it is just ongoing. ये मेरा एक सवाल है. और एक और इसी में एक सब सवाल है कि हम अगर जन्मते हैं और फिर मरते हैं और फिर जन्मते हैं, तो उस दौरान, जिस दौरान हम जन्मते हैं और मरते हैं, मर के जब जन्मते हैं, उस दौरान हम कहाँ खो जाते हैं? क्योंकि एक स्पेस जिस हिसाब से, क्योंकि ये इन दोनों सवालों का जवाब चाहिए आपसे.
राइट. सो इफ वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, अगर हमें पहले ये जानना है ना कि ये जर्नी कैसे चलती जाती है, कहाँ एंड होती है, इसको जानने से पहले पहले हमें अपनी अंडरस्टैंडिंग क्रिएट करनी है दैट हु वी एक्चुअली आर, हु आर वी, राइट? क्योंकि अगर मैं वर्ल्ड, जैसे आपने कहा कि अगर ये शरीर भी मेरा नहीं है, शरीर मेरा नहीं है तो यानी कि दिस इज नॉट माय ट्रूथ. ये मन भी मेरा नहीं है, शायद आज रहेगा, अगले जन्म में रहेगा, पर फिर झड़ जाएगा. शायद उसके बाद भी जो मेरा बिलीफ सिस्टम है 2-3 जन्मों तक रहेगा, फिर झड़ जाएगा. तो क्या ऐसी चीज है जो दिख नहीं रही है, पर दैट इज माय रियल नेचर? आई हैव टू क्वेश्चन दिस. You might not be able to define it. I might not be able to put it in words, but that is the truth. Because truth का definition ही वही है कि truth को हम भाषा में, परिभाषा में, किसी परिचय में नहीं डाल सकते, but truth exist करता है. जैसे आपको एक example देता हूँ. आप मुझे एक दूध का लोटा दो. You gave a vessel of milk to me, okay? And I look inside and I ask you, what is it? You say it's a milk, okay? But I will also say, I also see butter in it. Can you say milk has butter in it?
हाँ.
मिल्क में, दूध में मक्खन है ना? जैसे दूध के कण कण में मक्खन है, दिखता नहीं है वो, वैसे ही सृष्टि के कण कण में वो कॉन्शियसनेस है. वो दिखती नहीं है, पर वो है. वो दिखेगी किसे? जो इस दूध को चर्न करेगा. जैसे दूध को चर्न करोगे, मथोगे, तो क्या दिखेगा? मक्खन दिखेगा. ठीक उसी प्रकार से अगर आप अपने आप को चर्न करोगे, you will get to understand who you truly are, what your real nature is. Even this question which is coming to you, अभी ये question भी आपको आया है ना, ये भी आपकी चर्निंग है ना? तो इसको आप पूछते जाइए, आप बिल्कुल सही दिशा में जा रहे हैं. इसके ऊपर अगर आप शैलेश मेडिटेट करते हैं, you will realize who you truly are, because you are that who never took birth, who will never die, who is always in continuity. You will never change. Somebody who is unaffected by the health, the old age, the issues of life, that is what you are. That is your real nature. That is your supreme Brahma. That's what you define. और दूसरी चीज जो आपने दूसरे प्रश्न में पूछा है कि मृत्यु होती है, फिर जन्म होता है, मृत्यु और जन्म के बीच में जो समय होता है, हम वहां कहाँ होते हैं? तो देखिए, 2 मार्ग होते हैं हमारी कॉन्शियसनेस के, हमारी जर्नी के 2 मार्ग होते हैं. एक तो हम कहते हैं सूर्ययान. सूर्य यानी कि सूर्य, यान यानी कि जर्नी. एक होता है चंद्रयान. चंद्र यानी कि चंद्र, यान यानी कि जर्नी. चंद्रयान क्या होता है? चंद्रयान वो यान होता है, वो जर्नी होती है जब हमने कुछ पास्ट में किया, उसका इफेक्ट अभी बाकी है, तो हम उसको लेने के लिए वापस आते हैं. चंद्रयान इज अ जर्नी वेयरिंग यू कीप कमिंग बैक टू टेक बर्थ. और उस समय में क्या होता है, जब तक आप, मतलब कि मृत्यु के बाद आप अपना शरीर छोड़ते हो, तो क्या होता है, ऐसा ही वर्ल्ड है एक, जैसे आप, मैं और बात कर रहे हैं, सिर्फ वो सटल वर्ल्ड है, उसमें ग्रॉस एस्पेक्ट्स नहीं है, वो सटल एस्पेक्ट है, एनर्जी एस्पेक्ट है, पर है ऐसा ही वर्ल्ड, जिनको हम आत्माओं का घर कहते हैं. उस प्लेन में हम चले जाते हैं। उस प्लेन में क्या करते हैं, हम अपनी जर्नी को समझते हैं, अपनी लाइफ का रिव्यू करते हैं, पिक्चर देखते हैं, उसको समझते हैं कि क्या चीज थी, अच्छा मैं इसको कैसे बेटर कर सकता था, अपनी पास्ट की रेफरेंस की मैं करने क्या आया था और देखो मैंने क्या किया, उस सारी चीज को समझने का प्रयास करते हैं। फिर उस चीज को देख के हम अपनी नई स्क्रिप्ट लिखते हैं, लाइफ जर्नी लिखते हैं, एंड बेस्ड ऑन दैट वी कम डाउन टू लिव दैट लाइफ अगेन, एंड दैट्स हाउ वी कीप गोइंग थ्रू दैट। दिस इज कॉल्ड चंद्रयान। एक होता है जो मैंने आपको कहा सूर्ययान। सूर्ययान क्या होता है, जो व्यक्ति अपने आप को अपने शरीर में रहता रहता जान लेता है, अपनी नेचर को, अपनी आइडेंटिटी को जान लेता है, और वो जान लेता है हु एम आई, व्हाट इज माय रियल नेचर, these people they don't come back, then they actually meet in their complete being self, they go there and they become a part of that because they have understood जिस डायमेंशन से वो आए हैं वो और कुछ नहीं, वो खुद ही वो डायमेंशन है। So that is how Brahmayan or Suryayan and Chandrayan are defined in our ancient text. Okay.
Thank you, Sailesh. And we have Sri Lakshmi. Sri Lakshmi?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Hanji,
thank you.
ask the question.
As you told, as Rama and Parashurama are same souls, it splits into two. Like in this in current scenario, if anyone is having one person's having two souls, one soul is having two, made of two persons, can will our conscious come to know that?
Of course we can come to know that if we learn to connect with who we truly are. पहले हम इस शरीर से जुड़ना सीख जाएं, तो जो हमारा इस शरीर के बाहर कोई शरीर है, we will begin to connect with that also. There are several people, many of us, who in dreams connect with their parallel selves. Okay. Several of us. We don't realize it, we don't know it. That is a different story. But many of us, we do it. And once we have done that, if we begin to do more of sadhana, we understand ourselves more. If you come across your parallel self, you will get to know. Let me give you an example. How will you know that this could be your parallel? Usually, the way in this plane, you have parents, mother and father. Same way, your soul also has a monad. We call it an oversoul or higher soul, higher self. That means it's a parent soul of yours. The way you are the child of your parent, there could be some other soul also who is the child of the same monad, same parent. They can also be considered as parallel. That is how, they are set into the system.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, anyone else?
Is there
और कुछ? अच्छा,
MP single जी?
हाँ जी, बताइए.
Namaskar, Hitesh ji. I think I am audible. Namaskar.
Yes.
My question is regarding the time of the 4 yugas. कि उनकी टाइम पीरियड क्या क्या है. जैसे हम देखते हैं कि राम का बर्थ ऑलमोस्ट 8000 ईयर बैक वी कंसिडर कि अयोध्या में जो हमें मिला है अराउंड 8000 ईयर. Similarly, Kirsan we consider around 5000 years back. So what is the time period for all these yugas? I am still confused. Somebody said it is a 4032 years, 1000 years and all these things. So I am confused on that. Okay. So I want your view on that. What is
So before I speak about it, I just want to speak about जैसे सेंटीमीटर है और मीटर है, जैसे किलोमीटर है. These all are different measuring parameters. Same way, confusion कहाँ पे आ जाती है जब हम measuring parameter युगास का नहीं देखते हैं और सिर्फ नंबर देख के उसको जान लेते हैं कि हाँ, this is what it is. So for example, if you say that Kali Yuga is 1200, it is called 1200 divine years, or it is not actually earth years. Okay. It is actually 1200 divine years, which is equivalent to 4,32,000 earthly years. So that is how. तो इस प्रकार से वो डिवाइड किया जाता है. जैसे अगर आप मेरे को आपको सतयुग का बताना हो तो उसको कहते हैं 17,32,000 सालों का, अर्थली सालों का युग था। उसके बाद जो नीचे का आया उसमें से उसका बना 12,96,000 युग बने। फिर उसके बाद 8,32,000 आए, 8,64,000। फिर उसके बाद जो नीचे का आया उसको कहते हैं 4,32,000। सो दैट इज हाउ यू नो दीज आर अर्थली ईयर्स। कंफ्यूजन एक्चुअली कहाँ आती है? जब हम पैरामीटर्स नहीं पढ़ते हैं और उनको सिर्फ नंबर देख के हम डिफाइन करना शुरू कर लेते हैं। आई थिंक दैट इज द कंसर्न।
But still, if we'll take the archaeological survey and in Mathura, so we found 5,000 year back of the earthly year, not the. Pardon, sir?
या एक्चुअली देखिए टाइमिंग्स में ना हमेशा कंट्रोवर्सी रहेगा, because people try to find it through their, what I am telling you, I am getting a reference from the Vedic text. I don't believe on any of the other things. I just simply get it from the Vedic system because Srimad Bhagavatam speaks about it. So I'm bringing it from actually the reference of all the, the text. Rest, there is always a manipulation of information as the information passes from one level to another. There's a deterioration of that we have to agree to. But all that matters is that, they existed and it was only for the well-being of ours.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? किसी और को अगर कुछ पूछना हो तो? Yes, thank you so much,
Beautiful
everybody.
session and excellent answers.
Great.
Okay, lovely. So let's let the evening come to an end. Of course, with Hitesh, we want to keep asking, and I'm sure he has lots of pearls of wisdom to share with us. But that is for another Thursday. I'm sure Hitesh will continue to enlighten us on our Thursday platform. So thank you, Hitesh, so much for coming today. And it's a pleasure always to listen to you. And thank you, everybody, for being here.
थैंक यू मैम, आपका आज का बहुत अच्छा प्रोग्राम था, बहुत अच्छा था। हितेश जी का भी बहुत अच्छा, बहुत ही अच्छा।
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.